What's going on, everyone? College football fans and also Spartan fans and players. So Ghoster here just talking San Jose State football. As promised by, I promised about 10 or 15 people who've recognized me on campus wanted me to talk about you guys. So, what's up? First things first. Reviewing last season, yeah, it was a rough season, we'll just say. You could argue, yeah, this team had the obviously only one win, which was against an FCS opponent, and not even an FBS win. But here's the thing: they were playing for the future, and Mike MacIntyre put in his system guys, a lot of guys that were more familiar for his system, and he was willing to give them some growing pains, some baptisms of fire, whatever you would want to call it, just for the future. So a lot of early struggles went on, and obviously they only salvaged that one win against Southern Utah. So the first half, yeah, statistically, we're probably one of the worst teams statistically to start. But here's the reason. Tough schedule. You had Alabama, you had Wisconsin, you had Boise State, you had Nevada. You had all these ranked teams to start the year. And the brutal schedule just really came to hurt them this for last season. It's like you sold your soul for money. Obviously, the couple $1 billion for those two opening games, and then the rest of the way, it was just brutal. Once the second half came along, they broke your heart. It wasn't that typical blowout losing to a Boise State opponent. This was just heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak. And those of you who've seen this channel before know that sometimes I upload some sights and sounds from when I attend the games. But there were two games that I chose not to make a video for, and that was Utah State and UC Davis, because those two games hurt so badly. It just unbelievably hurt that I couldn't watch any more of it and work on the video. It was so bad. But going on though, you can only go up, right? Because a lot of guys are coming back. I mean, if you look at returning starters, we got a lot of them, especially on defense. Duke IDAHO was out for the year. I think he got injured against Alabama. I might need to recheck of that, but he's the star safety that we were missing last year, and I know it definitely hurt in the long run. If you looked at some of the losses last year, once we got to WAC play, which was not Hawaii, Fresno, Nevada, Boise, the competition is very balanced with Idaho, Louisiana Tech, Utah State, New Mexico State. That part of the WAC, it's pretty much up in the air, and that's obviously who's going to remain in this WAC conference after the season. We don't know exactly. Lots of uncertainty after this year. But it was just heartbreak after heartbreak. I said before. I think there were 3 or 4 losses that were in walk-off fashion or happened on the final play or near the final play. I just remember watching that Utah State game from the stands, and it hurt. But the players gave their hearts out, and I can't say anything more than that, because a lot of freshmen and sophomores were playing early, as said before, Mike MacIntyre. It's all about the future, and the future for San Jose State is actually going to look very bright. I know in the short term it might suck, but believe me, I believe Mike MacIntyre knows what he's doing. He knows about the future. He knows about the players that are getting experience now rather than later. So I knew it sucked if you were a Dick Tomey holdover and were one of those seniors or juniors of last year, and I know they weren't necessarily getting playing time. Going on to the roster, this is going to be very interesting because we don't even know the quarterback as of right now. Should be Matt Faulkner, who's the senior, but you never know if he puts in a freshman or even a raw player like Desmond Stewart. I'm expecting Faulkner because he is the JUCO and eventually the senior who should be taking over once a Fresno State transfer. But the weapons on offense are going to be really good. I like Ryan Otten, tight end. I like Noel Grigsby. I like Kyle Nunn. I really like the receivers that we have coming back, and should be good for a long time because Noel Grigsby had a very solid season for a freshman. And then on defense, you had Keith Smith, who had a very solid year for a linebacker as a true freshman. So the defense, as said before, everybody's returning back, whether it's Peyton Thompson, whether it's Alex Germany. A lot of these guys are just coming back from last year and should all be very experienced. It was growing pains. It was the change of system. I know it's a lot hard in transition mode, but I really like the future of this team, and it's looking bright. the offensive line will be my little piece of concern. It hasn't been the strength in recent years. I know it's a lot tougher. It's a pretty tough position to protect your quarterback, create holes for Brandon Riley and company, but that will be really what determines how good the offense is or not. Because the passing last year was solid. There were times we'd have timely or untimely interceptions, but we still had a lot of passing yards last year. The running game, on the other hand, not as great. It's got to improve if they want to win games this season. Uh, Still, just a lot of uncertainty there in the offensive line. I'm not exactly going to be sure about that, but I expect improvement because you can only go up, and I believe if they're competitive, that's all I could ask for. Because next year, the WAC will not be having all the top tier teams. San Jose State, I think, will be in very good position once the big teams leave after this year: Hawaii, Fresno, Nevada. Those three are going to be leaving. You got 2 football schools coming in. There will be 7 teams as of right now. Hopefully Carl Benson adds an 8th team and we'll have a full conference. You have to have 8 teams for a conference. The big thing MacIntyre has done with this team, besides making them competitive and they're young, is the fact that we have a full roster of 85 players. I don't think that's happened in a long time or forever, if it has happened at the school, because I know the team has been shorthanded. They've been lacking the depth. They've been rusty. They've been tired. And I know that's been a big factor. So now that you got 85 players actually under scholarship, that's a major plus. And I'm happy to know that MacIntyre has been able to get people on this team and bodies to play for San Jose State. So the future's bright. A lot of you probably know next year and probably saw the headline, Tate Forcier will be coming to San Jose State. He's transferred here already, but he'll be playing next year. And finally, we'll have a quarterback after this year. There'll be a quarterback. We also will have a running back, a guy from Minnesota transferred here as well. So the future, it's going to be looking bright, and I think we'll have a very good shot. Going on to the schedule, though, this year in the short term, it's going to be a tough schedule. First of all, you start with 2 Pac-10 opponents. You have Stanford, you have UCLA. It's probably a lot more doable than Wisconsin and Alabama, because at least you'll have some more fans in your sections. But Stanford, of course, they're expected to be a national title contender despite losing their head coach. UCLA, a team that's been pretty up and down and struggling, but you never know if they pull some surprises or not. But it's a lot more doable than Wisconsin. And then the home opener against Nevada. That's going to be a really interesting test because Nevada's a school that's had San Jose State's number over the years. I mean, you can look at the stats and everything. I think there was one win in 2007 they were able to pull off. But other than that, Nevada has owned San Jose State. So it would be, right out of the gate, they're going to be tested. There's 5 home games for this team. And 3 of them are going to be tough because you got Nevada, you got Navy to end the season, and then you have Hawaii, who is the expected favorite. Out of all the 5 home games, I would love to beat Hawaii. I am I really hate Hawaii as a fan. I can't stand them, can't stand their fans who traveled out. It's just really, really annoying just dealing with Hawaii fans that come in the area to watch the team. I could stand them. 2 years ago, very competitive overtime loss. I know that they're capable of doing it. Hawaii's a big favorite, but it's very capable. Last year, the way that San Jose State played against Hawaii, or 2 years ago, I think they have a chance. Because 3 years ago, they won on the island 3 years ago, so unfortunately that was, of course, a different team. But the other home games, New Mexico State and Idaho, are both very winnable. Both of those games were walk-off losses in heartbreak fashion last year on the road. But those are very doable. And then the road schedule, you got Colorado State, who is a bottom feeder of the Mountain West, or they've been struggling. And then you have to go at BYU, who's now independent. That's going to be very tough. And then Louisiana Tech and Utah State, those are both houses that we have not wanted very much, especially Utah State. That's going to be a very tough atmosphere, especially because it's late in the year, a lot of snow. I know we've won there. I think 3 years ago we won there, but it's still going to be tough. Sorry, 4 years ago. And then Fresno State to end the season, which will be the end of a rivalry. It'll be Fresno State, as we know, is moving over. It'll be sad when they go. And once again, I'd love to beat Fresno State. That would be a great way to end the rivalry. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be a tough schedule. If they win 3 out of the 5 home games this year, I would be very happy because I know the home games are going to be very tough, as I said before, and competitive. But I think we're headed in the right direction. It'll take time. This season is another transition year. But next year, once the people leave the WAC, it'll be very wide open, and I expect a lot more winning from then on out. But this year should be another honeymoon year for Mike MacIntyre, and we'll see what happens. But big shout out to Noel Grigsby, as I know you're the one guy who's recognized me, Keith Smith, and of course I know who's graduated, Avelino Valencia. So big shout out to you guys who've been always talking to me and recognizing me on campus. So we'll see you guys later. I'll be at the games, and by the way, the stadium's been quiet like a library. Whoever attends the games, you guys got to be louder, okay? I've been very frustrated at that, and I know we moved up to day games, so expect the Indian summer to take over in October, September, so beware, it'll be very hot, hotter than you think it will be when it's October and September when you go to the day games. Then you got that one Friday night game against Hawaii. That will be very interesting, so we'll see you guys later. Go Spartans, as always, so let's look forward to a new, fun, and competitive season. We'll see y'all later.